Responses to abiotic factors. Having realized that abiotic conditions of many habitats may vary drastically in time, we now ask, how do the organisms living in such habitats cope or manage with stressful conditions? But before attempting to answer this question, we should perhaps ask why a highly variable external environment should bother an organism after all. One would expect that during the course of millions of years of their existence, many species would have evolved a relatively constant internal within the body environment that permits all the biochemical reactions and physiological functions to proceed with maximal efficiency and thus enhance the overall fitness of the species. This consistency, for example, would be in terms of optimal temperature and osmotic concentration of body fluids. Ideally, then the organism should try to maintain the consistency of their internal environment, a process called homeostasis, despite varying in external environmental conditions that tend to upset its homeostasis. Let us take an example. Let us take an analogy to clarify this important concept. Suppose a person is able to perform his or her best when the temperature is 25 degrees Celsius and wishes to maintain it so, even when it is scorching hot or freezing cold outside. It could be achieved at home in car while traveling at workplace by using air conditioner in summer and heater in winter. Then his or her performance would always be maximal regardless of the weather around him or her. Here is a person's homeostasis is accomplished not through physiological but artificial means. How do other living organisms cope with this situation? Let us look at various possibilities. Regulate. Some organisms are able to maintain the homeostasis by physiological, sometimes behavioral also, means which ensures constant body temperature, constant osmotic concentration. All birds and mammals and a very few lower vertebrates and invertebrate species are indeed capable of such regulation, that is osmoregulation and thermoregulation. Evolutionary biologists believe that success of mammals is largely due to the ability to maintain constant body temperature and thrive whether live in Antarctica or in Sahara Desert. The mechanism used by most of the mammals to regulate their body temperature are similar to that ones we humans use. We maintain a constant body temperature of 37 degrees Celsius. In summer, when outside temperature is more than our body temperature, we sweat profusely. The resulting evaporative cooling, similar to what happens with a desert cooler in operation, brings down the body temperature. In winter, when the temperature is much lower than 37 degrees Celsius, we start to shiver, a kind of exercise which produces heat and rises the body temperature. Plants, on the other hand, do not have such mechanism to maintain internal temperature. Confirm. An overwhelming majority, that is 99% of animals and nearly all the plants, cannot maintain a constant internal environment. That the body temperature changes with the ambient temperature. The aquatic animals, the osmotic concentration of body fluid change with that of the ambient water osmotic concentration. These animals and plants are simply conformers. Considering the benefits of constant internal environment to the organism, we must ask why these conformers have not evolved to become regulators. Recall the human analogy we used above, much like how many people can really afford an air conditioner. Many simply sweat it out and design themselves to suboptimal performance in hot summer months. Thermoregulation is energetically expensive for many organisms. This is particularly true for small animals like shrews and hummingbirds. Heat loss or heat gain is a function of surface area. Since small animals have larger surface area relative to their volume, they tend to lose the heat very fast when it's cold outside. Then they have to expend much energy to generate a body heat through metabolism. This is the main reason why small animals are rarely found in polar regions. During the course of evolution, the cost and benefits maintaining a constant internal environment are taken into consideration. Some species have evolved the ability to regulate but only a very limited range of environmental conditions beyond which they are simply conform. If the stressful external conditions are localized or remain only for a short duration, the organism has two alternatives for the survival. Migrate. The organism can move away temporarily for the stressful habitat to a more hospitable area and return when the stressful period is over. In human analogy, this strategy is like a person moving from Delhi to Shimla for duration of the summer. Many animals, particularly birds, during the winter undertake long distance migration to more hospitable areas. Every winter, the famous Keolado National Park, Bharatpur in Rajasthan, thousands of migratory birds coming from Siberia and other extremely cold northern regions. Suspend. In bacteria, fungi, and lower plants, various kinds of thick wall spores are formed which help them to survive unfavorable conditions. These germinate on availability of suitable environment. In higher plants, seed and some other vegetative propagule structures serve as a means to tide over period of stress besides helping in dispersal. They germinate to form new plants under favorable moisture and temperature conditions. They do so by reducing their metabolic activity and going to a state of dormancy. In animals, the organism, if unable to migrate, they might avoid the stress by escaping in time. The familiar case of bear going to hibernation during the winter is an example of escape in time. Some fish and snail go into estivation to avoid summer-related problems, heat and desiccation. Under the unfavorable condition, many zooplankton species in lake and pond are known to enter diapause, a stage of suspended development.